Hello, welcome to yet another episode of War. And we have been discussing war for long, and there are many important war which we have discussed in this episode. So, welcome again into this series of historical reflection. And today we will be actually discussing about a very prominent war which gave way to the dynamic dynasties to rule further. So, as we have discussed, the war, nobody wants war, but many great minds who comment on war, they say there are some essential evil because that generate some development, some kind of closeness or rise of empire. So all that is actually we attain through war. As many good minds, one quote which I remember is, if you leave a door open, the enemy will rush in. So try to be more careful about the territories. The country should be careful about the territories, about the well-being. So all this is, I'm keeping it apart. And let's discuss one war which actually turning point which gave way to the greatest dynasty to rule India, and one of or two of them is Nandas and Mauryas. So the story begins with this war in such a way where one aspect, that when we talk about Shishunaga, he was very much enthusiastic, he was expansionist, and he wanted to establish a great empire of the dynasty which he belongs to. In 5th century BC, the Indian subcontinent was a battleground for many powerful kingdoms, but among them was Magadha and Avanti. They are really stood fiercely against each other. They became very much rival towards each other, and they locked into this struggle that actually spanned nearly a century. So the war between Shishunaga of Magadha and the Kingdom of Avanti was not just a territorial conquest, it was a very important movement that reshaped the political landscape of ancient India. So let's discuss about the rise of Shishunaga. Now, Shishunaga actually came in power in 413 BC, overthrowing the declining Haryanka Dynasty. His leadership marked the beginning of Shishunaga Dynasty, a period of expansion, consolidation of Magadha, and recognizing Avanti as persistent threat and enemy of Magadha kingdom, and he set his sight to eliminate and destroy the influence of Avanti for years to come, for further years to come. And that is not once, but all the time, and for all. That's kind of a motive, or that kind of vision Shishunaga was having. The war against Avanti actually ruled, that time the Avanti was ruled by Pradyota Dynasty, and which this dynasty has long been forbidden forces in central India. It was equally powerful at that point of time. So then it was the capital of Avanti was Ujjayini, and was a thriving center of trade, culture. However, there was some internal instability, and that actually started weakening the empire. And this was a perfect opportunity for Shishunaga to enhance this instability, and also opportunity to strike this beautiful kingdom, which was definitely very important at that point of time. The war culminated into decisive battle of Ujjayini, where Shishunaga's forces overwhelmed Avanti army. The defeat of King Nandivardhana marked the end of Pradyota Dynasty and complete annexation of Avanti into Magadha. And so as I told you, there are this war actually lasted for less than a century, and there was many aspects which was dealt by both the kingdoms. So let's discuss the aftermath and legacy with Avanti under Magadha control. Then Shishunaga solidified his kingdom dominance over North India after this war, and also into Central India. The conquest actually paved way for further dynasties that will come and create one of the most a long-lasting empire in Indian history for the years to come. Shishunaga's victory was more than just a military triumph. It was a turning point that unified vast territories and strengthened Magadha economy and set a stage for great empires to come. And his conquest was truly the conquest of courage, and the conquest of a king who is expansionist. And eventually he controlled half of India at that point of time. Shishunaga's conquest of Avanti was a strategic masterpiece, and we have to really, when the gurus of war who discuss his strategies, we cannot ignore those strategies. Even today in modern time also we use those strategies which was used by Shishunaga. So, and he actually, after the conquest also of Avanti, he solidified Magadha, and Magadha is, and it created a dominance of Magadha in North India. So his battle strategies relied on tactical warfare, psychological pressure, and superior military organization. And there are some elements which need to be discussed and need to be told again and again. Now, first is the strategic alliance and diplomatic policies during that time. So before launching a full-fledged war against Avanti, Shishunaga actually weakened Avanti politically by forming alliances with neighboring states. And this ensured that Avanti had no external support, no external collaboration during the war. The second is psychological warfare, and Shishunaga used intimidation techniques for the people, for the leaders of that kingdom, and eventually demoralizing Avanti's forces. He spread rumors of Magadha overwhelming strength, causing fear, uncertainty among Avanti troops. And then finally, once the war was initiated, and once the Avanti actually experienced the defeat, the equally important was siege of Ujjayini. Ujjayini was the capital of Avanti, and it was a power center at that point of time. The final battle took place at Ujjayini, Avanti's capital. Shishunaga blocked the city, cutting off all the supplies and reinforcement. Avanti's force actually starved, and eventually they surrendered due to all these techniques which was used by Shishunaga. Then after any war win, we have to do some rapid integration, because if the war linger on even after the success of the war, then there are possibilities that the kingdom, the winner party, may face rebellions of few parts in that kingdom which is being won by any kingdom. I mean, Shishunaga actually took care of that aspect, and there was a rapid integration of whole empire, Avanti empire, along with the Ujjayini. After the conquest, Avanti and Shishunaga swiftly integrated administration into Magadha, and this actually prevented rebellion, and there was a smooth transition of such a big empire into Magadha. His victory marked the end of Avanti's rule, and it also created another way of Magadha expansion, maybe psyche of the kingdom or the ruler which were actually ruled Magadha in further dynasties like Nandas and Mauryas. So we have to appreciate, and we have to discuss again and again Shishunaga's war strategy. And we have already discussed few aspect how he created kind of psychological warfare, and military wise also he was very powerful. So Shishunaga was actually founder of Shishunaga Dynasty, and he was a master strategist, and who led Magadha to victory against Avanti in 5th century. His military tactics were a blend of diplomatic maneuvers, psychological warfare, and there are some innovation on the battlefield also during the war, and that actually ensured Magadha, and Magadha later on became a very, for many centuries to come, a very big power center in India. So one greater aspect of this war is though the war techniques and tactical and psychological warfare is there, but historians actually also take account of siege of Ujjayini, the way it is being done by Shishunaga, and at the same time the integration of governance of Avanti and Ujjayini, and the dominance of Magadha to the newly annexed Avanti into Magadha. That is also a very important aspect of this period, and very important skill of governance by Shishunaga. So, so he actually ensured a smooth transition, because there are even in modern time also, if the new territory is annexed into the old one, there are many aspects which has to be take consideration. But Shishunaga played really well, and the smooth transition is done by powering retained local officials and incorporating Avanti's military into his own forces. He prevented he prevented even 1% of rebellion chances after the war, and solidified Magadha and gave him control of central India. So this is a very important war which we discussed. We can say it's kind of a buffer between when there was some addition or solidifying the territories of India, converting central India dominance, Kingdom of Central India and North India, and eventually this also kind of a stepping stone to the further dynasties like Maurya dynasties or Gupta dynasty in further years to come. So we have to discuss the legacy of Shishunaga military strategy. Shishunaga's conquest of Avanti is very, very important, and it is territorial expansion, that is one, but it is also turning point in Indian history, and its strategies and the foundation of Magadha for future dominance. That is where many intellectual, many historians argue, because that where Shishunaga played a vital role, and that became a very important war and period for Mauryan dynasties, which would go and create one of the most powerful empire, not into ancient India, but we can actually say that Mauryan Empire was world's one of the most powerful empire in ancient India. So, but all this started with the military dominance of Shishunaga, the military strategies, and consolidation of Magadha Empire under Shishunaga. So, this is an important war, and I would actually suggest people should more put this important war into the text, school text, and people and students should know that how the whole greatness of India emerged, and the impact of this war, or the culture and administration of Shishunaga, Mauryan Empire, Nanda Dynasty, Guptas, they all started with this war. In a way. So look forward for your comments, and if you want to add to this this war, look forward regarding this. So we'll meet you again with another story of war in next episode. Till then, bye bye, take care. See you.